Despite being most recognized as a capitulation trader, a huge proportion of my trading was in breaking news. As you can imagine, this is a subject I'll be covering a ton, but for now, we're going to start simple with one of my favorite heuristics for trading breaking news headlines. My favorite hack to tell just how big of a deal a headline's impact might be is what I call the CNBC Heuristic. The CNBC Heuristic is a question I ask myself during a big breaking news headline. The question is this news such a big deal that it'll become a feedback loop of importance? And the news will be disseminated on CNBC and all sorts of other news sources throughout the day? Essentially, can I see this headline as being big enough of a deal that CNBC producers are yelling at each other, debating how best they're going to cut to this huge breaking news? If you take the average breaking news headline on Bloomberg, you of course have some day traders, like me, who are sitting in our seats watching these news sources, and those people will be fastest to the headline. But you also might have people with their Bloomberg alerts that are hedge fund managers, but they're not glued to their seats. So they're going to get that headline a little bit late. If the headline is big enough of a deal and market moving, it is going to start to gain circulation. It's going to reach the squawk boxes. It's going to reach CNBC. It's going to be taken on by Reuters, and it's going to hit the Wall Street Journal. As these different segments become aware of it at different points in time, it becomes even more reflective, where the further the stock moves, the more important the news is inferred to be, the more broadly accepted it becomes that the news is a big deal, which then inspires others to buy, and on the feedback loop goes. Sometimes these feedback loops might even span over 24 hours, and eventually you reach widespread mainstream adoption and interest. For me, this simple heuristic is a good indicator that a specific headline is a really, really big deal. But it is also much more than that because it directly affects how I will trade a ticker. Because of this dynamic, the percent chance of the trade working, I would argue, increases. But the most important part I've found is that in these really big headlines that meet this heuristic, I find that the potential reward very meaningfully increases. For those following along at home, those two factors mean the expected value is increasing. And you know what that means. First, if I'm quick to think about this heuristic, process the headline, and the answer is yes, it meets the heuristic, then I might want to get far more size initially on the headline, given the potential importance of it. I also might want to be a little bit looser with my stop, but of course, I still always have one. I might want to hold a core position, bigger picture. I might try to hold more size longer, and I might be more eager to re-enter or get back in if stopped out, or even to potentially take overnight risk on these trades. In other words, when this heuristic is met, I tend to get more aggressive and have more faith in the move having legs. With enough experience over time, you develop this feeling in your gut of, oh wow, this headline could really become something. How can you accelerate that intuition? Every one of those headlines you see that meets this criteria, start studying and databasing them. Even go back in time and think about what headlines meet these criteria in past years, write them up, then get studying. I hope you find this little rule of thumb useful. I hope you make it your own based on your own trading rules. And I hope you see how this can influence your trading for the better.